Give you £1 million to kick that cat. And I feel pressured by the two people behind the cameras filming us to answer in the correct way. Or we'd like you to help us to make some more children fat.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast, and in this episode we've got a couple of business anchors talking about ethics. We'll be talking about how we dealt with the opportunity of working with Nigel Farage, how we feel about working with betting companies, and we'll be debating some strange ethical dilemmas. It's episode 13, unlucky for some but not for you, because you're listening to the best podcast in the whole of a small industrial park in Manston.
All right. You're getting better at the intros.
Thank you. That's not scripted at all. That was just completely off the top of my head.
Off the cuff.
Yeah. So we're talking about ethics.
Ethics.
I wanted to talk about ethics to prove to the world how much of a brilliant person I am. So, you ready?
I'm ready. Come on then.
Cool.
What have you got? Why are you so brilliant?
Well, there's lots of ways why I'm brilliant. But when we're talking about ethics, I think there's a long way we could go with our business. But I like to think we have morals and we make decisions for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But you can be the judge, listeners. We'll find out very soon if we're actually terrible people.
I think there's also a number of stories we're going to talk about that are going to share some of the things we've done to hopefully communicate how ethical we are or unethical. Because there's
like the one to do with us working with a certain politician
Nigel
that might
Farage.
sound like Nigel Farage. I was gonna try and cover it up.
Nigel Farage, yeah.
Nigel Farage.
Because we had the opportunity to pitch to work on their, what was it called?
Leave means leave, I think.
Yeah.
It's basically Nigel's best mate. And well, it's controversial, I think, and people listening might not think our decision was the best, but we spoke about it a lot. Dan and I discussed it, and we eventually decided not to continue to pursue the opportunity. But was that the right thing to do?
We'll find out.
I don't know. So why did, Dan, in your opinion, why did we say no thanks, Nigel?
I reckon it's broken down into two reasons. One, because it didn't align with our values. So in my perspective, one of the reasons we wouldn't work with people from an ethical front is because their values don't align with ours. But two, also because it's quite a controversial organisation. Even if it did align with ours, there's a group of people who have the opposite opinion that we could potentially put off working with us.
So there's one point is more about ethics and morals.
Yep.
And the other half is actually about
businessy
for our business.
Yeah.
Putting off 50% of the population from working with us put
it this way, if the Remain camp came and approached us to pitch for work, I still think we wouldn't do it. I don't know what you think.
No, I do agree, but don't you think that would have been a much hard, because obviously listeners, you might have different opinions to us, and that's absolutely fine. We can still be friends. But yeah, so us on that side of things, I think it would have been harder to say no
to something
because we think, we've got opportunity to get paid to support something we agree with. But I'd like to think we would have also turned it down.
And then there's also a difference between us speculating now and the real world of this actually happening and what we do. I think we can all sit here and say what we definitely do. We do this, we do that, and then when it actually comes to it, we might do.
Talking about ethics, so we said we think that our business does all right and has morals and ethics, but how much money would we have to be offered for our ethics to be
broken?
Yeah. If someone goes, give you £1 million to kick that cat, I might go, I'll give half the money to a cat charity. Boot it next door. No, that's horrible. But do you see what I mean? If we got offered a huge deal that would change our business on the Remain side, would we? I think that tests your ethics and morals.
In this podcast, I want us to try and be as honest as possible and really think about things, because it'll be very easy to sit here and on our pedestal, we're really ethical and we do everything perfectly and we'd never do anything unethical. Whereas there's a pretty funny story, something that Lloyd did when we went and shot a video in a ski resort that was very unethical, and
Well, hang on. You make it sound like
it was unethical. I'm telling you that. But to tell that story later, anyway.
that's not a businessy thing, by the way, listeners. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a horrible business person. Just in my personal life, I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
That was one thing, but Dan never lets me forget about that.
There's a few other things.
So,
Like that.
can you see our business ever working on a political campaign of any sort, Dan?
At the moment, I can't.
Okay.
Honestly.
Mm.
However, okay, let me put a question to you.
Okay.
If for some reason our business was about to shut down and we were about to have to make everyone redundant, because for some reason I haven't been doing a good job on getting work in, which would never happen, but it could happen.
Oh, you're so good.
And then right, so we're about to shut down. Sorry, everyone. You know, you can't have a job here anymore. You know, you can't feed your family and pay your rent. Sorry. But then Nigel Farage comes along and says, "Hi, Knowlton, we'll pay you 150 grand to do this one campaign that could feed all your employees' families and their rent. Do you want to do it?" What would you do?
Oh, that is a good question. And I feel pressured by the two people behind the cameras filming us to answer in the correct way.
Yeah.
No, if I'm honest, Dan, I don't care about our staff. So I wouldn't be bothered.
Barney's glaring at me.
Oh, yeah. Actually, the opposite answer. No, I do think...
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's
I have to say...
where's your moral compass?
Yeah, because it's either... So our team are closer to us as people. So you have the feeling that you want to look after them and ourselves. But then I suppose it's also if you're supporting something that you think harms lots of people, but that aren't as close to you.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's like, would you feed your nan or 20 children that don't have any food that you don't know?
Yeah.
That's a really weird example, but do you see what I mean? Like it's... But
this is going to be a horrible episode because it's going to be constant would you rather questions,
but
isn't
you know
it?
what? I think I would find it... In my head, sorry team, but I think I'd like to have the moral compass of, no, we'd want to do the right thing. But I think I'd find it actually very hard to do that. I think I potentially could end up being a horrible person and keeping our team employed and pay the bills.
Yeah.
Just being honest, I think it would be very hard. Although I want to say we'd do that, it'd be very hard to make that decision.
I guess you are right because it's how close the people are you're affecting, which sounds horrible. Like that's why I guess.
And at the moment, I mean, there's two people literally
staring at
within
us.
meters of us. Over two, obviously, COVID-19. But yeah, I think that would be tough. God, you just hit me with a really tough question at the start. Okay, moving on with hopefully easier questions. There's probably going to be more tough questions.
Yeah.
There's something, Dan, that I think comes into our ethics and morals as a business that we differ slightly on, and that came up recently. So someone, a business approached us to work with us, and Dan wasn't confident that that business was going to get the results that they thought they were going to get. Is that correct, Dan?
Yes, but it's important you talk about the reasons why.
Oh, well, tell me the reasons why.
Go. So I didn't think they were going to get the results because I didn't believe that they were going to implement the strategy that we're going to develop, basically. Through having conversations, I didn't think they're committed to actually doing the work. So I felt very uneasy about working with them, basically.
Which I think... I mean, that makes Dan a lovely person because he basically was of the opinion our business shouldn't take on this work and this money.
I'm not. I think it's actually more of a selfish thing, being honest.
Because, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a good person. No. Good. Okay.
No, but I honestly think
I was worried you were better than me.
It's because I didn't want the shit feeling that I would get on the inside of them coming back and saying, "Oh, we didn't get results." So it was actually a selfish thing.
Because my opinion was, why do you think you're the best judge of whether they're going to put in the work? So I thought, surely they, as a company and as the leader of the business, is the best judge of that.
Yeah, and I may have misjudged it, but I still hanging over my head was having the shit feeling of them speaking to them and them not being happy. The worst part of this job, of running this company that I have, the worst internal feeling I get is if a customer isn't happy.
Yeah.
And if your team isn't happy.
Yeah,
like if anyone isn't happy that you impact, I feel really shit.
And I think we've got to continue having that thing of, if someone wants to work with us, we always want to think, are they going to get the results they want, and not work with them if they're not going to, because I think for the selfish reason of if we work with people that we don't believe are going to get results, I don't think that would be positive for the business. We'll make money that time, but then our reputation will go downhill. But also just the ethical side of, we don't want to be feeling like we're just taking people's money going, gutted, they're not going to get those results.
But at the same time, do you think working in that way is going to have a negative impact on the growth of our business?
No. Short term, potentially.
Okay, cool.
Short term, we may have £20,000 next month that we on a deal, and we say, sorry guys, we don't think your business is at a point where you're actually going to get results, the purchases or the orders through this campaign, because it's currently you're not ready for it, so we're not going to work with you, and we won't get that money. But I think over the long term it will make us more profitable.
And I guess on another
business.
level, I've got another question for you. If you manage that business's expectations and you said, hi business, you want to work with us, but you're a completely new startup, you haven't proven that anyone has a demand for your products. Currently, we have no evidence to show that our great marketing activities that we do will sell your product, because we have no clue that anyone has a demand for it. So just to manage your expectations, we know we're brilliant at getting in front of the right people with the right message at the right time, with the right piece of creative to get them to buy stuff.
He said this before.
But if they don't, you put me off now, Lloyd.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
saying something really good.
But if
they don't,
he's forgot what he's going to say. You were saying that if you manage their expectations and they still want to go ahead, that's okay. But
would you think that's okay or not?
What if they still wanted to go ahead and said, yeah, we understand this might not work, but it might work? Yeah, I'd be happy to go ahead, because then they completely know what they're getting themselves into. And they would like to take the risk of it potentially not working.
And I also think the different approach from me, from a sales perspective, is further down the line now, I feel a lot more confident in communicating that, rather than, when you start out and you just think anyone that shows interest, you're like, yeah, I've got to work with you, because you're just trying to build a business that actually can pay the bills. Now we've got a proven formula. I'd be much more confident in saying, this is a massive project, but this doesn't look quite right here.
Yeah. Oh, I think we're in a good place with that.
Cool.
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
So, McDonald's approach us, saying, "Oh, we'd like you to help us to make some more children fat." And
is that how they'd put it?
No, they probably wouldn't say that, but that's what they'd mean. And
they've got carrot sticks, Lloyd.
Yeah.
And fruit bags.
Yeah. Okay. So we'd like you to sell more fast food for us.
Yeah.
Which probably isn't good for the health of the nation. But don't forget, we got this massive McCharity. Old Ronald over there supports loads of charities, so we're pretty good. What do you think?
I'll be honest.
Be McHonest.
I'll be McHonest. I would McWork with them.
McReally?
Yes.
Oh, that's McInteresting.
How long can we keep this up for?
I don't know.
No,
okay.
Honestly, look, honestly, no, I won't do that anymore. Honestly, I would work with them. I think, I don't know, I guess it's also like, how close has what they're doing impacted you as a person? As in, if I, a lot, Lloyd. No, if I was morbidly obese because I could not stop eating McDonald's, then I guess I would have a much different opinion. Like if...
Oh, so if it's negative to you...
No, I know. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
I'm trying to analyse myself.
Yeah, sorry for judging you.
I'm trying to analyse my own decision-making. It hasn't had a big enough impact on... And I also, again, we're trying to see, what's the worst thing that makes you addicted to something and ruins your life? I personally would judge it as less bad than like...
That's the hard thing, I think.
Drugs or alcohol, or...
it's us as a business judging what's harmful and not harmful to society, which is, are we actually good judges of that? I don't know. I think it's quite complicated, because you could argue that anything could be harm. We're marketing these trainers. Like, they're these trainers that are advertised to teenagers who don't have enough money for them, but they're spending 140 quid on trainers.
You're constantly trying to figure out what's more moral than something else. But would you work with McDonald's? You totally would. I don't care what you say. You would.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Well, if they came on with a massive campaign, they wanted us to do, you'd say, no, because you make kids fat. You wouldn't.
No, but I really do think that McDonald's are a huge negative thing on society and the world. So I wouldn't be excited about working with them.
Okay, I would.
Okay.
If you're at the McDonald's and you want us to work with you, then just call 01843. What's our number?
Can't even remember.
Anyway,
don't know the landline. Anyway, call me, McDonald's, and I'll tell you what to do. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So McDonald's, it might be harmful, might not be harmful.
Yep.
I think you put out an interesting post a few months ago about working with betting companies.
Yes, on LinkedIn. 6 months ago, to be precise.
Because betting, with digital marketing, social media marketing that we do, like betting and gambling is a huge, there's huge money in it. Yeah. So,
I've actually got the post here. I won't read the whole thing out, but 6 months ago on Radio 4, they announced that the head of mental health services in England had written to 5 major gambling companies demanding urgent action to tackle gambling, because there was the statistics here. What was it? Gambling companies, they now spend... Wait, how much do you think gambling companies now spend on marketing online in a year?
In the UK? Probably.
Don't know. Yeah. Probably UK. It is in
they
GBP.
Spend 200 million.
1.2 billion.
Oh, really?
Up 56% since 2014, which is mental. So, so he basically... I did this post, and I said, this is my opinion, and you have the complete opposite opinion, so we'll argue about it in a second.
Yeah.
I said...
I've got morals.
What did I say? That's what I said in the post. Being completely honest, if we were happy that the marketing campaign we were running wasn't manipulating vulnerable people, I would work with a betting company. And there's some interesting opinions other people had, which we can talk about. But so would you work with a betting company, and what's your reasoning?
I really wouldn't want to.
Oh, you're such a good person, Lloyd.
Yeah. Firstly, just so people think I'm brilliant.
Yeah, of course, that's the main reason.
No, but I have an opinion on this. I don't think gambling should be allowed to be advertised at all, because I think gambling addiction is something that completely ruins a lot of people's lives. And mainly, I think gambling companies prey on the most vulnerable people, and I wouldn't want to support that. Now, I know that there's... And I even partake in certain forms of gambling.
So you're supporting the system that you think is terrible for other people. So as long as you get fulfillment out of it, that's fine.
No. But I think there's... So people get a little bit of enjoyment from gambling. A lot of people get a little bit of enjoyment. Like they put a £5 bet on the football and get a feeling of, this is a bit exciting. I think that's such a small level enjoyment compared to the horrible effects of gambling addiction and people losing their homes and and absolutely everything. And I think I've gambled too much in the past, and I think it's just so easy to get into that, and I don't want to support that.
I was just about to say, like the time, and then I realised, should I be saying that or not? When you went to the casino and put money on a certain colour. Do you remember that?
Yeah, 200 on red.
200 on red, and
didn't come in. Terrible decision.
Whose money was it?
It was mine, but I was looking after it at the time when I was 18 for someone. I got it straight out the cash point. See, so things like that. Yeah, that's because someone marketed to me. It wasn't my own decision at all, was it?
I'm just going to keep coming up with stories that contradict everything you're going to say in this episode.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think we all live lives of contradictions. Lloyd Knowlton, 2020. But I just don't. I personally think so. You know, this whole when the fun stops, stop. Yeah. I think it is crazy for us as a society and as a marketing industry to think it makes sense to have a 30-second advert saying gamble on all this stuff, gamble, 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 and then the last 2 seconds going, don't gamble. Like, that makes no sense to me. Yeah. And I think that whole thing, we say that at the end, doesn't have any effect.
Can I share some interesting responses to that betting post that I think will be good?
Are they more interesting than my opinion?
Yeah. Shut you up at the moment.
Yeah, nice.
So, Sean Staunton from Sleeping Giant Media, who's
great guy.
We really like. Again, this was like 6 months ago, so you probably won't remember. But he said, really interesting one. I like where you're going with this. I personally believe a company exists with a just cause at its core. It's why we have visions for companies, right? The idea is that we have a purpose. So the real question is, what is your just cause? The answer to that may determine what keeps you on track of advancing your just cause and what doesn't. Also worth noting that money isn't a vision, just because cause or a why. It's a byproduct of the work you do. I'm so terrible at reading. But basically he's saying that a company has a just cause. And also I followed up with asking him, I'm intrigued, what's Sleeping Giant, which is another agency in Folkestone, what's your just cause? And he said, we're currently doing some developments to ours at the moment, interestingly enough. But essentially, ours is to empower people, teams, clients, and ourselves to become better and live our full potential, which I think is a wicked just cause. It's quite interesting. What do you think our just cause is? We haven't really thought about it, have we?
Probably exactly that, but slightly better.
Yeah.
No, I would like us to focus more on that in the next couple of years as we're growing, because I think it will give us direction. And when these opportunities arise more as we grow, it will give us a better kind of framework to make our decisions and think why we're making those decisions. Yeah. But I think that makes sense. And I suppose with the gambling thing, are you helping anyone get better by supporting that?
No.
My argument would be no.
No, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah. Interesting. Good opinion, Sean. I agree with you.
Also, lots of
lovely person.
There's some other good, interesting comments which kind of taps into the McDonald's thing you said. So this, I'm really rubbish at pronouncing name. I think it's Simon, but it's spelled differently. Simon Bienek.
It's spelled Frank.
SZYMON. So it's a bit different. Okay. So he says, would you refuse Coca-Cola, Bat, Diego? How about Facebook or Samsung? Sugar, tobacco, social media are also addictions. How do you decide which addiction is less aligned with your values and which one is fine, perhaps perceived less bad than gambling or alcohol, which is a really good point.
Yeah. I think that's what makes it so hard when you actually look into this. We're making judgments from our upbringing and stuff, probably that as we were growing up, smoking and gambling and drinking were probably the problems that we see in society. Now, people staring at screens all day could be just as harmful as someone smoking. Well, obviously don't quote me on this, but smoking every day for different reasons. Yeah. Obviously it might not.
I think it is all based on our personal experience though, isn't it? If you've been impacted by certain things, you're going to have more of a strong opinion. And I
suppose that's why with me with gambling, I feel like I could quite easily, if my life wasn't as lovely and I was supported by people, and I was, not as happy, I feel I could slip into like bad stuff with gambling. So I guess that's why I think it's so bad. Yeah. I can see the potential of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And McDonald's. I've got a bit of a McBelly, so maybe that's why. Okay, cool. Nice. I want to quickly say, viewers of the podcast may notice there's someone else's face in between our faces. Because Aidan bloody won the competition to get his face there, didn't he? So Aidan, you're going to get recognised by tens of viewers of this podcast.
Hi, Aidan.
So thank you, Aidan, for making that comment and putting that there.
You're basically famous now.
Yeah. And also, I think this is something we should be doing more.
Go on.
So Aidan, obviously a listener of the podcast, we want to give a quick shout out for something he's doing. So, and I want to do this more often, Dan. Good stuff that Business Anchors podcast listeners or viewers are doing. Message us because we want to shout out good stuff. So, Aidan is running the London Marathon, hopefully, if it's going ahead, for a charity. It's called ICAN, and it's a charity for children with speech and language difficulty. And it's something Aidan's experienced in his life and something very important to him. He's going for a sub 3 hour 30 marathon, which
is that good? I have no idea about marathons.
Yes.
Is it really?
Put it this way, I reckon I could do a sub 6 hour marathon.
Really?
If I trained for a bit. So
good luck, Aidan.
Yeah, if you want to support the Business Anchors
community,
yeah.
What should we call? Because like Justin Bieber's got Beliebers.
Yeah, I think they should be anchors.
Okay, anchors.
Yeah. So support an anchor, Aidan. Go to bit.ly/Aidan's Face, AEDANSFACE. Lowercase.
Can you edit on the screen, please, Lauren, when in the video? Thanks.
And please donate to him, even if it's a couple of quid. I think Aidan would really appreciate it. And we can
come on, anchors.
We can feel like part of a
this.
community. Come on, anchors. We can do this. But yeah, also follow him on Instagram, AED. Oh, sorry, I'll start again. AEDANK22. You can follow his progress with training and stuff like that. So thanks, Aidan, for entering the competition, and thanks for getting in touch with us about that charity.
And well done for doing good charity stuff.
Community, keep doing good stuff. Brilliant. Okay, let's end on some hypothetical moral dilemmas.
Ooh, I'm excited
to see what we do. So I've written some for you. Have you written some for me?
You, yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Probably the better person, me.
Okay, cool.
So, and are we just... Is it just a yes/no answer, or is it like we're talking about it?
Well, I'd say let's not talk about it for ages,
okay.
because that would be boring. But let's give an answer and then just justify your answer.
Okay. A company has come up with a cure for world hunger. How amazing.
Great, well done.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Think of all the people it's helping.
Whoa.
But it involves painfully ripping baby rabbits' eyes out. Would you work on the campaign to promote this?
Oh, that's thrown a spanner into the works, isn't it? Painfully... I suppose, right, so this is my justification of making a decision. It depends how many children are saved by not being hungry anymore and their lives improves, and how many rabbit eyes are pulled out. If, like, for every one child you had to pull 200 rabbit eyes out, I'd say, sorry, mate, but their lives matter too.
Rabbits' lives matter.
Yeah. But if it was kind of like a rabbit eye and these 10 kids can... be fed.
Go on then.
Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. Next.
That's what a strange one to start with.
Mm-hmm.
We've answered this one about So you've said you'd work with McDonald's, but would you work with a company promoting fast food to children? So like the whole campaign is about...
No, I actually wouldn't. Okay. I know I've said about McDonald's, but I'm just trying to think. I hope I haven't contradicted myself. We didn't clarify if that campaign was to promote. No, I wouldn't, because I genuinely, I don't.
Okay.
But we'd want to get that specific detail, McDonald's. If it's something to promote fast food to adults, then we'll work with you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Cool.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, I've actually got, this is a bit of a different one.
Mm-hmm.
When you give to charity, do you consider it a selfless act?
No.
Oh, okay, I wanted you to say yes. And
yes.
Okay, so you think you're really good and you think you're good. So when you do that, do you you can write your name or you can put anonymous?
Yeah.
What percentage of the time do you put anonymous and what percentage do you write your name?
I find this hard, actually. Yeah, I'd say I'm 50-50. I try to be anonymous, but sometimes I think, I want them to know I sponsored them. So yeah, it's definitely not selfless, is it? It's like, I want them to know it was me. But a couple of times I've this makes me sound so stupid. A couple of times I've put anonymous, so someone's running a marathon.
Yeah.
50 quid, anonymous.
Yeah.
Then I've texted them, just sponsored you, mate.
Oh.
So I think, I don't want them not to know I've done it.
I suppose because you're thinking, if it's someone you want to support.
I want them to know that I'm being supportive, but I don't want to go to the world, look at this.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's a good one.
Right, I've got a good one for you.
Go on then.
So Dan, if you haven't listened to earlier episodes, Dan's a public speaker in the non-COVID world. So there's this new event, and it's called Fat People Should Pay to Use the NHS. And they want you to speak at the event for £20,000. Are you going to speak at that?
No, I could not speak at that. I couldn't.
What, just because they're bad
no,
name?
No, because it's not enough money. No, I'm joking. No, I couldn't.
Okay.
I just imagine being associated with that.
Yeah. Okay.
You actually thought I was going to say yes, didn't you?
I thought that might be a chance.
I've got one final one. This is a bit of a different one. This isn't a kind of hypothetical question. What was the last unethical thing you did?
Unethical thing I did? The last unethical thing. I drove a car here.
Oh, I suppose, because of the environment?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite a good answer.
I think in reality there's loads of stuff that would be better for people in the world. If
you probably don't care about your son's life because, you're just
there.
putting the fumes into the air.
Yeah, I could have cycled it, so I'd say that.
Do you know how I got to work?
How?
I cycled here because I'm better than you.
Oh, so ethical. Okay, can I do a last one for you?
Go on.
So we could give everyone in the business a 5,000 pay rise today, but you had to kick a rabbit as hard as you could. Would you do it?
Oh, that is really out of order.
Sorry to laugh.
No.
I never condone kicking animals, by the way, but I
don't think. Sorry, team. I couldn't kick a rabbit.
Okay. All right. Would you stamp on a spider for the same thing?
Yeah.
Why?
Wait, how big's a spider?
About that big.
Yeah, I would.
So, why does a rabbit's life matter more than a spider's life?
Because rabbits' lives matter.
Great answer.
Thank you.
I just thought I'd see if what was there. Yeah. So, by the way, guys, never kick any animals. They were hypothetical things to make us think about things. Great. Do you know what? I think we should leave it there. Lots of my brain hurts from trying to be ethical and make the right decisions.
Do you know what? The best bit is still to come in part 2 because we're going to be telling the story about when you were really unethical in France.
That was one thing. Yes.
So
yeah, we'll talk about that.
Don't just go away and not listen to part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2 is going to be good.
Okay, and don't forget, guys, bit.ly/Aidan's Face, which is AEDANSFACE. Support Aidan. Support the anchors.
Support another
community.
business anchor.
Support an anchor. Thanks, guys. Love you all.
Bye.
See you in part 2.
Bye.